Imagine a brilliant executive who is dismissed on the spot for publicly correcting his boss. Imagine a gifted student suddenly ostracized by classmates because he always knows the right answer. These people do not fail for lack of intelligence. They fail because they reveal too much. Truth is inconvenient. The world rewards not the one who possesses the most knowledge, but the one who knows precisely when and how to present that knowledge. Notice how exceptionally bright people often end up alone. That is no coincidence. In many environments, especially professional ones, high intellect is seen less as a treasure than as a threat. A Cornell University study confirms this. Individuals with very high IQs have a harder time building stable social bonds. The issue is not poor social skills, it is that their perfectly logical remarks often leave others uncomfortable. Excessive thoughtfulness can place a person outside the group almost automatically. Remember Alan Turing, the mathematician who shortened World War II by breaking Nazi codes. Even after saving millions of lives, he was persecuted, humiliated, and cast aside by the very system that owed him everything. His genius was simply too immense to be understood, and for that he paid a heartbreaking price. Look around. The colleague who points out the exact place where the team's plan fails is labeled arrogant. The student who questions the teacher is deemed problematic. What annoys people is not a lack of tact, but a surplus of clarity. Intellect does not protect, it exposes. When you see what others do not, you risk being misunderstood and, too often, rejected. Being smart is not enough. You must deploy intelligence in ways that do not trigger alarm in everyone else. The first step is understanding the reaction your intellect provokes. Many believe that stating truth plainly and logically guarantees acceptance. Reality is different. Being right is not the same as winning, and trying too hard to prove you are right is frequently the fastest route to defeat. Picture a team meeting. You detect a fatal flaw in the proposed strategy. Raise your hand, pinpoint the problem, and offer a superior solution. On paper, you have just saved the project. In practice, you have become that know-it-all. No one likes to be corrected in front of an audience, and self-preservation is stronger than logic. Research in Harvard Business Review shows that employees who frequently correct colleagues are perceived as less likable, even when they are completely correct. The issue is not your reasoning, it is how others feel in its presence. Outside work, the pattern repeats. When someone in a casual conversation states something inaccurate and you correct them, the air freezes. The person shuts down, the discussion stalls. And your well-intentioned contribution becomes a threat to someone's ego. Here lies the error, believing that truth by itself convinces. It rarely does. Most people respond not to the facts themselves, but to the emotional impact those facts carry. If the truth you deliver humiliates or embarrasses, it will be rejected, not absorbed. That realization reshapes the entire game. The question changes from, "How do I prove I'm right?" to, "Is this the right moment to speak?" Or, "How can I help the other person discover this on their own?" This is where strategic intelligence begins. Appear harmless and people relax. Dropping their defenses, they become open to both you and your ideas. This is not about pretending to be weak or incompetent. It is about reserving your power for the right moment to reveal it. Great strategists have always understood this. Consider Leonardo da Vinci. While recognized publicly as merely a painter, he was secretly studying engineering, anatomy, and military science. When his inventions finally surfaced, the world was unprepared, and the impact was extraordinary. Seasoned diplomats behave the same way. They speak sparingly, listen intently, never emanate direct threat. Yet, behind the curtain, they steer entire negotiations. People do not feel the need to defend themselves against someone who appears non-competitive. Stanford University researchers found that professionals perceived as cooperative, rather than competitive, gain wider access to confidential information. Why? Because they inspire trust. They are viewed as allies, not opponents. Appearing harmless does not diminish your worth. It gives you freedom to observe, learn, position yourself, and act when it truly matters. You avoid envy, deactivate others' defenses, stay off everyone's radar, and when you choose to strike, no one expects it. Feigning ignorance is not lying. It simply gives others the room to reach insights themselves. When an idea feels self-generated, resistance fades. This skill is invaluable in delicate conversations, such as persuading someone to shift their viewpoint. Instead of saying, "That's wrong," you ask, "Have you considered this possibility?" Or, "How do you feel about trying it this way?" The wording barely changes, but the impact is dramatic. Top-tier negotiators use this routinely. Expert mediators do not impose solutions. They ask guiding questions so that each party arrives at the answer alone. When everyone believes the decision is shared, acceptance is automatic. Clinical psychologists know this well. A seasoned therapist rarely tells a patient what to do. Instead, they ask questions that lead the patient to their own conclusions. Because ownership of an insight predicts commitment to action. Steve Jobs mastered the same art in business. He would plant doubts at the outset of a discussion, let the team explore and debate, and watch ideas evolve, so that when the solution emerged, everyone felt it was theirs. Yet the seed had always been his. This approach demands tremendous self-control. Often you know the answer, but must resist blurting it out. Instead, you watch, guide, reveal nothing prematurely, and when the other party finally sees what you saw, they feel respected, and your influence deepens without force. Mediocrity moves in packs and becomes a primary obstacle for anyone who thinks differently. When average performance defines the standard, anyone who exceeds it is a threat, not for errors, but for excellence. Outstanding work exposes others' complacency, so the group bands together, not to rise, but to preserve comfort. This dynamic thrives in companies, schools, even families. An employee who consistently over-delivers may be sidelined. A student who reaches too high becomes a target of mockery. Worse yet, this system is often invisible, manifesting through strained smiles, subtle jabs, and exclusions disguised as just kidding. Research from the University of Essex shows that in average-performing groups, members who attempt to raise standards are judged destabilizing or selfish, even when their motives are clearly constructive. Unconsciously, the group prefers equilibrium to the upheaval growth demands. That does not mean you should hide your value or settle for less. It means how you reveal your value matters enormously. Unveil everything at once, and you spark people's defenses. Apply your intellect with precision, and doors open quietly. Constant visibility can seem like importance, but those always in the spotlight become convenient targets. Strategic invisibility is learning to watch, read the environment, and act precisely, without unnecessary display. In nature, the most effective predators are not the loudest, but the best at camouflage. Patient, unseen, striking when the prey cannot react. Human life is similar. People known for their brains risk much if they become predictable or spotlighted too soon. Look at corporate negotiations. Leaders who speak less, yet observe more, usually seal better deals. The Journal of Organizational Behavior reports that restrained leaders succeed far more often in complex negotiations precisely because they act deliberately, never for applause. Strategic invisibility is not passivity. It is intention. You remain active, reading the field, gathering advantages while others scramble for attention. You know you need not join every conversation. You step in only when crucial. Every word then carries maximum weight. Perception outweighs reality. This feels unfair, yet it is how the world operates. People respond to the image you project, not your full substance. Stand tall and silent, and respect follows. Appear unsure, and even competence goes unnoticed. Job interviews prove the point. Confident posture, unwavering eye contact, and measured voice often beat a stronger resume. In the workplace, The colleague who speaks rarely but decisively is seen as more reliable than the one who constantly broadcasts his achievements. Managing perception is not falsity. It is situational awareness applied strategically. In negotiations, begin flexible to create space, then show resolve when the moment calls for it. In a presentation, start humbly, build suspense, surprise at the climax. The power lies in being unpredictable yet consistent. Our term is subtle influence, guiding choices without brute pressure. Direct confrontation invites resistance. Planting questions frames choices inside your goal so that the decision feels personal, drawing minimal pushback. Sales veterans illustrate this perfectly. They do not say, "Buy this." They ask, "Would you prefer the premium package or the basic one?" The customer is already inside the buying frame. Political leaders skilled at influence avoid ultimatums. They propose options that make the desired outcome feel inevitable, a single sensible path. Thus, they retain allies and face little resistance. Smart managers mirror this. Instead of "do it my way," they ask, "How can we solve this more efficiently?" That question grants employees ownership. Engagement rises. Resistance falls. A Journal of Applied Psychology study shows leaders who use indirect influence secure 31% more voluntary cooperation than command-style bosses. Mastery requires patience, context reading, and precise language, yet returns exponential dividends. Knowing what to say matters. Knowing when to speak or not defines strategic intellect. Many people undermine themselves by rushing to declare a position. In meetings, arguments, social media, they talk unprompted, over-explain, react when silent observation would suffice. Picture the typical office scene. A manager asks about an unfinished task, and an anxious employee launches into lengthy excuses, revealing insecurity. A veteran colleague responds calmly, "It's in progress. I'll update you when it's ready." 14 words. No panic, no unnecessary exposure. University of Chicago research shows that people who pause briefly before answering challenging questions appear more confident and competent. A well-timed silence signals control, often worth more than the grandest argument. Yet silence, too, can be a mistake. Certain moments demand a clear stand to avoid future confusion. A leader silent in the face of injustice loses authority. An employee who never defends his ideas loses relevance. The real question is never simply speak or stay silent, but which choice preserves advantage here? Sometimes silence wins the day. Sometimes a precise statement ends debate without drama. Master this discernment, and you gain mastery over interaction itself. Nothing is rushed, nothing wasted. Each move measured and timed. Being unassailable does not mean isolating yourself. It means refusing to react to every jab, refusing to beg for validation, refusing to fight every minor battle. More reactions breed predictability. Predictable targets are easy to manipulate. Nelson Mandela embodied this ideal. Years of imprisonment, relentless provocation, yet he remained calm and purposeful. When freedom came, he sought no revenge. He acted strategically, becoming one of history's most respected leaders. His invulnerability lay not in distance but in relentless focus. You see the same principle in everyday choices, skipping trivial arguments, abandoning the hunt for constant approval, stepping out of permanent defense mode. Energy saved from needless battles fuels what truly matters. Personality and Social Psychology Review reports that individuals who demonstrate emotional self-control are judged more reliable and competent, socially and professionally. This is not emotional detachment, it is stability. Achieving it requires recognizing your triggers, holding clear intention, and controlling when and how you respond. It marks the transformation from reactive to strategic living. If this video resonated with you, click like and subscribe. Your support truly drives us forward. And if you want to explore deeper layers of human thought and strategy, tap the next video on screen. See you there.